Okay, so get ready, because today we are diving into one of the most enduring mysteries in American history.
The Villisca Axe murders.
Chilling stuff.
It really is.
So let's get right into it. I'm ready.
All right, picture this. A warm summer evening in Villisca, Iowa.
Okay.
It's June 9th, 1912. The Moore family, Josiah, Sarah, and their 4 children, Herman, Catherine, Boyd, and Paul.
Okay.
They're returning home after a Children's Day service at the Presbyterian Church.
All right.
Joining them are 2 young sisters, Lena and Ina Stillinger.
Uh-huh.
They're excited to be spending the night.
Right.
The evening feels ordinary, peaceful. The air is thick with the sweet scent of freshly baked cookies. The children are still buzzing from the day's festivities. They enjoy a late night snack with their parents.
Yeah.
Soon, the lights are out, the house falls quiet, and everyone drifts off to sleep.
Right.
But sometime after midnight, a darkness descends upon the Moore residence. An intruder, armed with an axe, silently enters the house. He moves through the rooms with a chilling purpose. His footsteps are muffled by the stillness of the night.
Yeah.
In the master bedroom, Josiah and Sarah Moore lie sleeping, unaware of the horror unfolding around them.
Right.
The intruder raises the axe, the moonlight glints off its blade, and he brings it down with brutal force.
Oh, gosh.
He then moves to the children's rooms.
Okay.
His grim task carried out with a chilling efficiency.
Wow.
Herman, Catherine, Boyd, and Paul. Their innocent lives extinguished in a matter of minutes.
It's just awful.
It is.
Yeah.
The intruder then descends the stairs, the floorboards creaking softly under his weight.
Mm-hmm.
In the downstairs guest bedroom, the Stillinger sisters sleep soundly.
Right.
Their dreams filled with childhood innocence, but their slumber is shattered by the same brutal force that claimed the lives of the Moore family.
It's hard to even imagine.
8 souls taken in the dead of night.
Wow.
The house falls silent again, save for the ticking of the clock and the soft rustle of curtains in the summer breeze. The axe, now stained with blood, is left leaning against a wall in the guest's bedroom.
Uh-huh.
Beside it, a strange detail, a 4-pound slab of bacon, seemingly untouched.
What?
Yeah.
So strange.
As the first rays of dawn break over Villisca, a concerned neighbor, Mary Peckham, notices the unusual quiet at the Moore house.
Okay.
The door is locked, the curtains drawn.
Right.
A growing sense of unease washes over her.
Yeah.
She calls Josiah's brother Ross, who arrives with a key.
Okay.
As he steps inside, he's met with a scene of unimaginable carnage.
Oh, my gosh.
The stillness of the house is broken by his cries of horror, a chilling prelude to the investigation that would consume the town and captivate the nation.
Wow. Okay, that was chilling.
Yeah.
It's hard to even fathom the terror of that night.
It's a story that continues to haunt and intrigue us over a century later.
So many questions. You got to be wondering, like I am, who could do such a thing?
Right.
And why?
A lot of questions.
Yeah. So where do investigators even begin with a case like this?
Well, the crime scene, unfortunately, was severely compromised from the start.
Oh, no.
Over 100 people walked through the house before it was properly secured.
You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
In 1912, did they not understand the concept of contaminating a crime scene?
Well, forensic science was in its infancy back then.
Right.
Fingerprinting, for example,
Yeah.
wasn't widely used.
Okay.
So crucial evidence could have been trampled on,
Of course.
moved, or even taken as
Oh, gosh.
macabre souvenirs.
Wow. Talk about a nightmare for investigators.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
what do they have to work with?
Well, despite the compromised scene, investigators meticulously documented everything.
Okay.
They interviewed townspeople, searched for any possible clue.
Right.
The murder weapon,
Yeah.
Josiah Moore's axe,
Okay.
was found in the guest bedroom, along with that unsettling detail, the slab of bacon.
Right.
They also noted that the killer had covered the mirrors and windows with cloth.
Okay. That's beyond creepy.
It is.
Did any of those details lead to any solid suspects?
Well, several suspects emerged over the years,
Okay.
each adding another layer to this already complex puzzle.
Right.
One of the most intriguing was Reverend George Kelly,
Okay.
an itinerant preacher who was in town that night.
Wait, the preacher who led the Children's Day service?
Yes, that's right.
Wow.
He was known for some, let's say, peculiar behavior.
Okay.
He had a history of voyeurism, and even confessed to the murders.
Oh, wow.
However, his confession was later recanted,
Okay.
and he was ultimately acquitted after 2 trials.
So a possible confession, 2 trials, and still no conviction.
That's right.
What about other suspects? Surely the Reverend wasn't the only person who raised eyebrows.
Absolutely. Another prominent suspect was Frank F. Jones,
Okay.
a state senator
Huh?
and a former employer of Josiah Moore.
All right.
There were rumors of a business rivalry, even a possible affair between Moore and Jones's daughter-in-law.
Ooh, a potential love triangle and a revenge plot. Like something straight out of a true crime novel.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But despite those rumors, investigators couldn't find any concrete evidence
Okay.
to link Jones to the murders.
Right.
However, the theory persists to this day.
So we've got a preacher with a confession he later took back, and a powerful state senator with a possible motive, but no solid evidence.
Right.
Were there any other suspects in the mix?
There was William Blackie Mansfield,
Okay.
a suspect in other axe murders in different states.
Okay.
However, payroll records provided him with a solid alibi
Right.
for the night of the Villisca murders.
So not our axe-wielding phantom, at least not in Villisca.
Right.
Okay, anyone else?
There's Henry Lee Moore,
Okay.
another individual connected to axe murders in other states. Despite the shared last name,
Right.
he wasn't related to the Moore family.
Okay.
And his involvement in the Villisca case remains unclear.
Okay, starting to see a pattern here. Multiple axe murders, different states.
Yeah.
This is sounding less like a local crime and more like the work of someone who traveled, perhaps using the railroads to move from town to town.
You know, what's fascinating is that investigators at the time,
Yeah.
and even modern researchers,
Right.
have noted similarities between the Villisca axe murders and other unsolved cases across the country. They point to specific details.
Okay.
The murders often happened on Sunday nights.
Okay.
The victims were bludgeoned in their sleep.
Right.
The blunt end of the axe was used.
God.
The victims' faces were often covered.
Hold on, are you saying this could be the work of a serial killer?
This has led to the chilling theory of a traveling serial killer dubbed the Man from the Train.
The man from the train, that's terrifying.
It is.
Imagine this shadowy figure moving from town to town, leaving a trail of death and unanswered questions in his wake.
Yeah.
Is there any evidence to support this theory, or is it just a scary campfire story?
Well, while there's no definitive proof, the circumstantial evidence and the patterns across seemingly unconnected cases
Yeah.
are compelling.
Okay.
Bill James,
Yeah.
the renowned baseball statistician,
Right.
actually co-authored a book with his daughter,
Oh.
The Man from the Train,
Right.
meticulously analyzing these murders
Okay.
and building a case for a traveling serial killer.
Wow. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting.
Yes.
And didn't James propose an actual suspect?
He did.
Okay.
James suggests that Paul Mueller,
Okay.
an immigrant, potentially from Germany,
Okay.
may have been responsible for a series of similar murders across the United States.
So a possible nationwide killing spree.
Potentially.
This is taking us way beyond Villisca, Iowa.
Yes.
This man from the train theory is both fascinating and incredibly disturbing.
It is.
If we connect this to the bigger picture,
Yes.
James's theory suggests that Mueller may have been responsible for at least 59 lives in 14 separate incidents, spanning over a decade. Are there any details about this Paul Mueller that make him a strong suspect?
Well, James examined the details of the crimes, including the modus operandi, the choice of victims,
Right.
and the geographic patterns to draw connections between them.
Okay.
He also explored Mueller's personal history, which unfortunately is shrouded in mystery.
Right.
Mueller disappeared shortly after the Villisca murders and was never found.
So we have a possible suspect, but not a lot to go on.
That's right.
What about the other suspects? Did any of them confess?
Well, while there were confessions from some suspects,
Yeah.
like Reverend Kelly,
Right.
they were later recanted or
Yeah.
considered unreliable.
Uh,
And with Mueller,
Yeah.
there's no direct evidence linking him to Villisca or any of the other murders he's suspected of committing.
Right.
The Man from the Train theory rests heavily on patterns,
Right.
circumstantial evidence,
Yeah.
but it's a compelling argument nonetheless.
I'm also remembering you mentioned a detail earlier about Lena Stillinger, that her nightgown was found pushed up.
Yes.
Was there any evidence of sexual assault?
That's a commonly repeated rumor that doctors debunked at the time.
Okay.
Despite the positioning of her body, there was no evidence of sexual assault.
Good to clarify that. especially in a case with so many gruesome details already.
Absolutely.
It sounds like this is an incredibly complex case with no easy answers.
That's right.
It's amazing that this happened over 100 years ago,
It is.
and people are still so fascinated by it today.
It's a story that never fails to capture the imagination, and it's a reminder that even in the darkest of times,
Yeah,
the search for truth and justice
right.
should never be abandoned.
It makes you wonder what really happened that night.
It does.
What stands out to you as the most intriguing aspect of this deep dive?
For me, it's the human element of the story that truly captivates.
Okay.
We have a seemingly ordinary family,
Right.
their lives brutally cut short, and a town left grappling with the aftermath of an unspeakable tragedy.
Right.
And then we have these suspects, each with their own secrets and complexities,
Right.
adding another layer of intrigue.
You're right. It's the blend of history, mystery, and the enduring question of who done it
Yeah,
that keeps us coming back to stories like this.
absolutely.
It also highlights how much forensic science has advanced since 1912.
Oh, for sure.
Imagine if this crime had happened today.
Right.
Investigators would have a wealth of tools at their disposal.
Absolutely, they would.
DNA analysis,
Yes.
advanced fingerprinting techniques,
Uh-huh.
blood spatter analysis,
Yes.
all those things we take for granted in modern crime solving.
Exactly.
It makes you wonder if those tools would have cracked the case wide open,
Yeah.
finally giving closure to the victims' families and bringing the perpetrator to justice.
It's certainly possible.
But even with all our advancements,
Yeah.
the human element of mystery and unanswered questions continues to fascinate us. And it makes me think, with what we've learned about a possible serial killer operating at the time, I wonder how many other unsolved cases
Right.
from that era
Yeah.
might fit the man from the train profile.
Yeah, it's a great...
It's almost like looking back at those old cases
Yeah.
through a new lens
Yes.
could give us some answers.
That's a great point. Imagine there could be cold cases out there just waiting for someone to connect the dots. Maybe a detail dismissed back then could be the key to unlocking a whole network of crimes.
That's a pretty fascinating thought.
Mm.
Like, what if we could use modern investigative techniques to re-examine those old cases, maybe even find some justice for those forgotten victims?
Exactly. It's like we're looking for those missing puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe we'll be surprised by what we find.
What strikes me is that despite all the advancements in forensic science, we're still drawn to these unsolved mysteries.
Right.
It's like a fundamental human need to understand, to find answers, even when they seem impossible to reach.
I think you're right. There's something about the unknown that captivates us, that keeps us searching for the truth. It's what drives us to explore the world, to push the boundaries of knowledge, and to never give up on the pursuit of understanding.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener. Thanks for guiding me through this complex and fascinating case. It's left me with a lot to think about.
It was my pleasure. It's a story that never fails to capture the imagination, and it's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the search for truth and justice should never be abandoned.
Well said. And to you, listener, maybe this sparks an interest in exploring some of those unsolved mysteries from the past. You never know, you might just stumble upon a connection that no one else has seen before. Until next time, stay curious.